Imagine you're a mother with 6 hungry kids to feed and care for, and you have no money and no place to live. Your husband has left to work on a farm. He sends what money he can, but wages are so low it's not enough to feed the children, yet alone to pay rent. Where do you go? What do you do? This is the North Cemetery in Manila, one of the largest burial grounds in the Philippines. But it's not just the dead who live here. It is also home to some of the country's poorest families, including Evelyn and her 7-year-old daughter, Helen, along with her 5 brothers and sisters. In exchange for keeping several crypts clean, Helen and her family are allowed to live here in this small tomb. But it's not anyone's idea of a home. There's no running water and no electricity, and they are surrounded by death and wild dogs. It's dark, dirty, and dangerous. But with no money and no home, they have no choice. It's early morning. There's no money for food today, so breakfast is 2 cups of coffee, shared among the children. Helen's mother hopes it will keep the hunger pains away for at least a few hours. Then, it's time to fetch water and get to work. While other children are in school learning, Helen is here, working. Her responsibilities include scrubbing and sweeping the crypts. Then, she must help her mother with the chores, taking care of the younger children and cleaning the shelter. But she knows when she leaves the tomb, she must be careful and watch for strangers who come to the cemetery to prey on vulnerable children. 2 years ago, Helen's sister was attacked by a man only a short distance from their shelter. Fear is a constant companion. It's a lot for a little girl to deal with. It's evening. The chores are done and it's time for bed. But more than anything in the world, Helen wants to learn to read and write. So, she sits alone, straining her eyes as she looks at the pictures, wishing she could understand the words on the page. When she can no longer keep her eyes open, she goes to sleep on top of the cold stone tomb, dreaming that someday she too can go to school and leave this dreadful place behind. I went to meet Helen and the family, accompanied by Children International representative Carmi Carpio. She told me how the family had been forced to move here several years ago, and how hard Helen's mother worked to keep her kids safe and make a home for them here, among the dead.
Here they are.
How are you?
The mom here is Evelyn.
Hi, Evelyn.
And this girl here is Helen.
Hi, Helen. How are you? So, after I was introduced, I noticed that Helen's younger brother, Jack, was sick. What happens when Jack gets sick? Is there medicines available to give him?
No. I wipe him with a wet towel, hoping it will lower his temperature.
So there's not really any medical
Not much medicines
care.
because
Wow.
she cannot afford it.
Wow. When they showed me where they lived, I was astounded at how Helen's mom had transformed this cold, empty tomb into a shelter for her children. The first thing I noticed was how spotless it was and how much pride they took in their humble home. And wow, I mean, it's definitely small in here. Where does everybody sleep?
Some of them sleep on top of the crypt and then the rest on the floor.
Do they ever get frightened by sounds or animals or just it being so dark at night?
I'm always worried and scared for my children's safety, especially when there are strangers in the cemetery.
Wow. I can't imagine. Helen's life is filled with hardship. But by playing with her, I was able to finally see the sweet little girl inside.
Good job!
Her seriousness disappeared, and she gave me a hug I'll never forget. But when I sat down to talk with Helen's mother, I was quickly reminded of how difficult life is for Helen and her family. As a mother, what would your biggest dream for Helen be for her future?
My greatest wish is that Helen would be able to go to school and have a better future. That none of my children will go hungry, and we always have food to eat. Life is getting a lot more difficult for us here. I'm afraid I can no longer make it.
Well, we hope to get you sponsors so that all can happen. Before I left, I asked Helen what her dreams for the future were. And this shy little girl with the big heart surprised me again.
I want to be a teacher so I can help my family.
When I first heard that Helen and her family were living in a cemetery, I was shocked. But what I feel now is admiration. Admiration for a mother who, with virtually nothing, has been able to make a home for her children in this place. And admiration for a little girl whose only dream is to go to school so that she can help her mom get a real home. Helen's mother has done everything she can for Helen and her other children, but it's not enough. If Helen is going to have any chance of a better life, she needs to learn to read and write. She needs to go to school. But there is hope, because when you sponsor a child like Helen, you'll change her life forever. She will get the medical and dental care she needs, emergency food, and the chance to get an education. She can even apply for a scholarship. Imagine the difference you can make in her life or a child like her. At Children International, our mission is to help children living in extreme poverty. We do that by one-on-one child sponsorship, connecting caring people who want to help, like you, with a child who needs your help.
What I like is that one-on-one. I know that for less than $1 a day, I'm helping that one kid and I'm helping that child's family, and that family is helping that community. So it's probably the best dollar I spend each day.
And now you can find out if sponsorship is right for you with absolutely no cost, no risk, and no obligation. Just call now, and we'll send you this information kit absolutely free. You'll get the photo and family history of a special boy or girl who desperately needs your love and your help. You can read all about your child. You can hold her picture in your hands and learn how you can change her life. Children like Helen need help. They need a special someone who cares enough to pick up the phone and call to become their sponsor. Is that special someone you? For the sake of Helen and children like her, I hope so.